He stated that if a university lacked these facilities, it is more of a glorified secondary school. And he also noted that a university is not for the mindless mob, but for the talented tent. It's a place for research. It's not a place for the force of argument, or the argument of force, but the place of the force of argument. And with that in mind, he also noted that the more he reads and understands, the more he knows that he has to do more reading and understanding. In the context of Cameroon, since 2002, where the Cameroon government gave the leeway for private institutions to come up and have research facilities and open up schools within a private domain as far as university is concerned, there have been a proliferation of higher institutions from all different quarters across the nation, in the southwest, the northwest region of Cameroon. You move down the street of Moliko, you have university and higher institutions from A to Z. In fact, some are repeating and changing just a word. In all quarters, in all streets, you have at least 2 or 3 universities within the southwest region, Moliko alone. And if you come to Douala itself, you get confused with the proliferation of these universities. As the state note that they cannot meet up with the obligation of providing education in all the nooks and crannies, reasons why they created a leeway. But it seems as if this leeway is being abused by those who are struggling to educate the population. Some, instead of looking at it as a means to create value within the nation, they are seeing it as a means of creating finance and generating money to build their skyscrapers, to send their children to Europe, and to make sure they have fleets of cars under the banner that they are CEO of universities and charge exorbitant fee without providing some of the services that are much needed to their students. Private universities in Cameroon do not have the power to grant certificates to their students. Reasons why the state created a forum which is known as a mentor university. For you to organize or to run a private university, you must be mentored by a state university. That is the degree granting body of your university, to maintain that you don't sell certificate, to also ensure that you keep to the rules and regulations that have been laid by the Ministry of Higher Education. And the mentor university also vet the questions and also vet the exams before they are being released in private universities. To this in mind, the mentorship agreement varies from university to universities, but what is of standard is that if a private university is being mentored by a state university and the fee for that state university is 50,000, the private university will have to pay 50,000 francs as fee for all the students that academic year to the state university. If it's a 4-year program, the private university will need to pay 50,000 francs times 4 for each of the students as far as that is concerned. Other benefits depends on how the mentors decide to do their own financial arrangement. But within this perspective, some universities are raising up questions that there is need for the government to subsidize them, to give them subvention, that there is need for the government to also include them into the Presidential Excellence Award. That is the 50,000 francs which is being given by President Paul Biya every end of year to students of great GPAs. And also they are noting that there is a need for the state to give them research benefits, since they are also contributing to quality education in Cameroon. But the question one is tempted to ask is, if they are raising these questions, what did they use to apply for accreditation? Is it not that for you to have an accreditation, you must show a source of funding, you must have good research facilities, you must ensure that you can run the school without demanding for money? If these are the things that they're asking, how did they get their certification and accreditation? Or should we go back to the drawing board to look at what needs to be done? This is House of Commons. We meet Tah Mai Javis. Earlier, we gave out invitation to Professor Innocent, who is in the University of Douala, as well as the director of the Higher Institute of Professional Studies, HIPS, who is one of the co-founder of that institution, the director of Higher Institute of Professional Studies, and also to the founder of St. Louis, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam. And we are here in the studio with Dr. Nick Ngwanyam alone, who will run the program because it's quite an educative program, and to give an insight as to some of the concerns that have been raised by his colleagues, that is owners of private institutions of learning in the nation. Dr. Nick Ngwanyam is a father of confederation, and he believes that for us to have quality education, we must ensure that we stay by the rules governing the governing operation of these institutions. Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much, Javis. We are dealing with a very, very exciting and an important topic today, and I hope that I will be up to speed. We'll try as much as we can to stay on the principles and make sure that parents, students, owners of institutions and everybody understands what the mission is, what is supposed to be done, so that we don't keep having this conflicting information on the field, because the public is confused, everybody is confused. There's that confusion because someone somewhere is not following the rules.
Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, the first topic we are looking at the exclusion of private universities in presidential grant. Is it omission or is it deliberate? We've had a lot of rectors of private universities raise this concern that they are supposed to be given their students are supposed to be listed in the Presidential Excellence Award, which is the 50,000 francs. The reason they are advancing is that their students pay school fees to state universities, and that they have a matricle in state universities, and state universities, they are degree granting body, so they are supposed to benefit.
Oh, thank you very much. That is a very small worry that we'll thrash in 10 seconds. But before I go deep into answering your various questions, give me some time to lay out the plan of what higher education is all about, what private higher education is all about, so that when I'm now giving the responses to some specific questions, people will now understand the reason why it is the way it was done. For starters, we have said here before that education is a very important tool in the way the nation runs, in the way systems work. That education, not just any education, but the proper education, the right type of education, and we'll have the opportunity to actually define what the right type of education is. And we said that a nation or a system runs on three important things: politics, which means the policies, then the economics, and the development. So if you look at even the questions, the issues that you raised in your introduction, you are talking about the policies that the ministry has put in place and how some people are challenging some of those policies and asking some questions. Then we are talking about the economics of running a system. So something is wrong somewhere, and then the development, the developmental challenges. So we need to understand this and know how it works. And then to be able to understand this again, and we also have to look at something. We have to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is, it explains to us why people behave the way they do. Why do you behave the way? Why does a human being behave the way they do? A human being it's the way he behaves. There's something that comes from our psyche and drives us. And so somebody put that in a pyramid or a triangle, and said we have these basic physiological needs, which are food, water, air, sleep, and excretion. And then on the second level, there was a need for safety and security. On the third level, there is need to love, to give love and receive love. On the fourth level, there is this ego, which is called self-pride. And on the fifth level is what you call self-actualization. Yeah, and beyond this pyramid is what you call the transcendental phase, which is very important. Many of the people in Cameroon are not yet in the transcendental phase, and that's why we are having a lot of problems in Cameroon. Everybody, even those who have more than they need, their mindset are stuck into the first level, where they're still fighting. That's why we talk about belly things, are still fighting at this level, and then still fighting to secure themselves as far as security is concerned, and are so full of ego. Then the third, we have to understand that these are different kinds of mindsets, and you have to to understand everything and how systems work, you have to have a clear understanding of this. Then it tells you how the porridge works. Now then you have to understand too why God created us. It's very important in everything that we do. We must understand why God created us. And you know, for those of us who believe in God, we know that God created us to worship him, to praise him, to love him. And then God also created us to work. It's very important that we work, and we have to love ourselves. So this is why we are here, and it is this work that we are talking about. Therefore, when we work, that work should be part of our worship. It's very important that all this comes together, and there's no way you can achieve and do many of these things properly if you don't understand truth, and you don't understand love, and you don't understand what common good is. So once you have your mindset set properly, and when you are doing things properly, then you will now be able to understand why you do things the way you do them. It's very, very important. Don't just do things out of emotions. Once we have understood this, then we have to understand another concept again. What is success? Success is not your cars, your houses. Success is what you have done to help other people to stand up. You know, that shoulder you provide to someone to lean on and go up. So it's about what are we doing to lift others up, even so that they become better than us. So we need to have this general mindset. Then we'll be able to do the things that we are doing. That said, this is what happened in the Ministry of Higher Education and in the nation as a whole. Up until about 2002, you know, we had only the state university, even just one state university. After that, we had one state university before that. Yeah. And then after that, you know, Boya was created and Akeba was created. And then now we have in every region. But the interesting thing is, the courses that were taught in those universities were not good enough to provide jobs for the youth, and also to run the development of the nation. It's very important. And the earlier crop of students that were trained, they fitted themselves into the civil service and filled those seats. And we thought we were doing a great job. And many of them were taught just to read and write, you know, and understand a few things. But for a nation to grow, that's not what you need. For a nation to grow, you need engineers. You need science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You need to engineer your economy. You need to become productive. And so when President Paul Biya is talking of us emerging in the year 2035, that's what he's talking about. What are we doing so that our agriculture is good, so that our engineering is good, so that we are producing the things ourselves? What are we doing so that we stop exporting raw materials and be exporting the finished goods? What are we doing so that we stop importing rubbish? Let's produce it ourselves. This morning, I was very shocked when I went to the supermarket. You'll be surprised. We are heading to another phenomenon of the 2008 if we are not careful. The rate of inflation is frightening.
Yes, we are in a hyperinflation.
Yes. I went to a supermarket this morning, and I was looking for sugar. So I kept going. I thought something was wrong with me. I couldn't see sugar. So I asked one of the boys who was selling in the supermarket, I said, "Where's sugar?" And then he pointed it to me, and then he laughed. He told me there's no cube sugar on the market anywhere. And then he pointed to me, and there's some two brands that were on the shelf, and these two brands are imported. The sugar is imported. Now, one of them is brown sugar in a plastic container, and the weight is 750 grams. That is not even up to a kilogram. And you know, we used to buy a kilogram of our sugar for about 800 francs max, right? Yes. 750, 800 francs. And here I was buying a 750 grams of brown imported sugar for 1,000 francs. Then I looked at, if you have been traveling in the buses or in the plane, there's some of the sugar that is put in some little long paper things like that. I'm poor. Yes, there was a packet like that had 1 kilogram of that sugar, and it cost 1,450. So you see, because we used to pay 750 francs for a kilogram of sugar, now we are paying 1,450 francs for a kilogram of sugar. That is a very bad indicator. And the worst thing about it is that this sugar is not produced in Cameroon, it's imported.
That's 2 times the price.
Yes, very, very, very dangerous. It is an opportunity that if we don't if we have to translate this difficulty into an opportunity. Otherwise, if we sit and we are watching and thinking that it's the parliament that's going to do. It's not the parliament, it's the schools. I'm saying that these our schools is what is supposed to solve the problems. When President Paul Biya is talking about 2035, he means let us produce the food we eat. Let us have the industries to do what we need. Let our own children build the airports, the roads, and so on. Let us get to a point where our own children start making these phones.
Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, you raised 3 categories.
Yes.
You raised the issue of politics,
yes,
the economy,
yes,
and development.
Correct.
That affects the system.
Yes.
Now, with these difficulties of higher education not being able to meet up with the aspiration of Cameroonians, should we not look at the fact that the politicians have a shared responsibility on this?
Let us say it. Everybody, every Cameroonian has the responsibility. And most of the responsibilities, in as much as we blame people, when you step back from the emotional platform and step back a little bit and try to reason it out, you realize that the politician who is there has a limited mindset. That's the first thing. He has a limited mindset and doesn't understand many of the other things that you are even talking about. He has tunnel vision. The second thing is, if he is greedy, then that makes a bad situation worse. And the third thing is, he couldn't just care. So even if you do what, he is not going to change. So we have to come to a point where we say, you know, we have to do something about this. And then when you ask the question and go right around, you realize that he is behaving like that because of the education that he received in primary school, secondary school, and university. He was not taught to think out of the box. So we have a lot of people filling up places, and we think that if we increase our parliamentarians from 180 to 500, they will solve no problem, because it's a mindset. So that's why we are saying we have to change our mindset and see how we do things. You know, help people to begin to think out of the box, and that is why this kind of other education that we are talking of, which comes from the private higher institutes, is what is meant to solve the problems. The people who are trained in the state universities cannot solve the problems of Cameroon. No, they are in no position to solve the problems. It's the people who are trained in the private higher institutes. If they are trained well and we know what we are doing, those are the ones that will solve the problems of Cameroon. Those are the ones. It's not if you to go to a state university and have a degree in philosophy, history, geography, gender issues, you know, accounting, banking and finance. That will not solve our problem. That is not it. And now, when you look at the way the private higher institutes are structured, there are 5 major areas in which children are trained. I tried to recall them, but I made some mistakes. I'm not so sure. But if you try to look at the areas, there is the social sciences. And in those social sciences, we are talking of marketing, management, you know, accounting, banking and finance. We are talking of sociology, psychology, many of these things. Then in the class B, we have legal studies. I'm mentioning this so that we'll go in and see the strengths and weaknesses. We do a SWOT analysis on all of these things. Then you have the medical studies. That's the third. Then you have agriculture and food technology and many and I don't know what. Then you have this big group of engineering and technology. Now, these are the 5 areas in which you need to be training children so that they can build up your economy. But something unfortunate has happened. Something very, very unfortunate has happened. Off camera a moment ago, we were talking and I was asking you about Parota's rule, the 80-20 rule. If you told me that if you go to any of our state universities or some of our private higher institutes, observe the number of students that are graduating. I observed it about 5 years ago and it was very worrying. You would see that, and I think I observed this in the University of Boya 5 years ago. You know, there was the mass of the students that was graduating.
5,000 plus.
Yes. And then about 3,000 were of the social sciences. You get what I'm saying? And they were making a lot of noise and very happy and so on. And when it came to IT, to agriculture, the students were very few. And they were bunched together as they looked like orphans, you know, crowded into a small environment there, and you know, and then they were taking their oath, and they look so insignificant. But in reality, for someone who is not who did not know what was happening, you look at it and you see that Chinese mob, and you think that is what is big. But the real people were those people. There were 10, 5, 20 of them. Those are the ones that make the country move. But unfortunately, their numbers are so small that they cannot keep up what is happening. What are we saying? We are saying that even though we have these things, all the social sciences, we need to squash them down. Those legal studies, we cannot just go around looking for people who have problems to be solved. We need to press that down and engage many of our students. That we have to flip the things over. What am I saying? If you go to our secondary schools, you go to our universities, be they state universities or private universities, you'll see that 80% of our students are into the social sciences, legal things, and studying subjects. That is not what will develop Cameroon. That is not what will change our economics.
Okay, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, let me do a follow-up.
Yeah.
A while ago, you said that the people who are trained in state universities cannot solve the problem of Cameroon.
No.
Are you by chance saying that state universities are wasting resources in meeting up with President Biya's vision in 2025?
Yeah, they are.
35?
They are. They are. And it was because of that realization that there was a waste of resources that they tried to correct it by creating private higher institutions. Are you getting me? To make up for those lapses. And then what we are saying is scale down, change some of the things that are being done in the state universities, change the dynamics, change the rapport, look at the curriculum. And I would say that, off camera again, we were talking a moment ago, we have this private higher institutes. We said about, I think we said they're about 420. And there's something about those private higher institutes. When the ministry gives you the authorization, it does not give you the authorization to open a university. There's something I wanted to correct. You are a higher institute. That's what we are. Are you getting me? You are called a higher institute of this,
That's why you have a lot of them institute.
Yes, yeah. Everything is an institute. I would explain that and you understand. Everybody is a higher institute. Everybody. When you start, you all start as higher institutes. For instance, when St. Louis started, we started as St. Louis Higher Institute of Medical Studies. Are you getting? And biomedical studies. That's it. But realize that we are dealing with, I named to you about 5 areas of training, right?
Yeah, you named the areas of social science, legal studies,
we took our area of strength, which was medical. Now, this is what the ministry wants you to do. So, you grow in that medical studies. If at all you pick whatever area you picked, grow in it and show excellence in it. When you show excellence in it and you want to expand, you can now come to the ministry and choose 1 or 2 other areas. All right? And then they will give you the authorization. So when you have 2, let's say 2 faculties, let's say that training in medical studies is 1 faculty, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then training in agriculture and food is another faculty, for instance. Once you now have the strength to run these 2 faculties or 3, that's when the Ministry of Higher Education gives you that appellation, University Institute. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes. When you get the appellation University Institute, one understands that you have more than 1 faculty. If you have just 1 faculty, let's say business, medical studies, because under medical studies we have a lot of departments, no? Yes. So those departments are not faculties, but all of that is medicine. Yeah, all of that is. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But now when you go out of that and take something that is away from that, like the business or whatever, and then you bring to it, then now you are showing this growth. You can grow in terms of you have now grown, by virtue of doing this and that under 1 roof.
So you become a university
institute, but not a university. You are a university institute, but not a university.
Why not a university?
Now, a university, when you now have your full independence to grant certificates
where you become not the degree granting.
Yes, that's right. And what I'm going to say is, might be there be 1 or 2 people who, some universities that would have. But the way Cameroon is going, there is a warning about what they call effet boutique. A fair boutique is what you mentioned, is the ability
To sell degrees.
to sell degrees. And many Cameroonians are so crafty that they are ready to sell degrees to whoever wants at any time. You will see, will become a PhDs will be churned out, master's degrees will be churned out, bachelor's degrees, HNDs will just be. So as you give me the money, I just turn the machine, and you start having, the street littered with children who have nothing in their head, who have no skills.
They have the papers.
They have the PhDs. Are you getting? That is the danger.
But now I'm sure that was why they say, okay, you have to be mentored.
Yeah, you have to be mentored.
But we have had this challenge with the Mentors University being accused of selling degrees. We have had a lot of cases where people have been accused that
whatever the case,
go to school, but you see at the end of the day, they graduate from universities.
The bottom line is that Cameroon is full of corruption. It's not because Cameroon is full of corruption that we will stop doing what is right. Are you getting what I'm saying? I mean, give me one sector in this nation that is working properly. Every place is so corrupt and so messed up. That's why even the medical field with abortions and everything. So the bottom line is, in as much as it is dirty and so on, keep your eye on the star. What is it that we have to be doing which is true? It is that truth that will save us. It's not that we start doing the wrong things because another person did the wrong thing. It's not because you saw the priest with a woman that the church is bad and God is bad. I don't know what I'm talking to you. Yes. Don't give excuses to do the wrong thing. You know the right thing to do the right thing. Even if 1,000 people are doing the wrong thing and you are alone, stand by that right thing and do it. And that's what we are talking about. At the end of the day, the right thing will prevail.
Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, you said a while ago that state universities, there's a problem in the future where you have majority of students in state universities go for popular subject than something that can build Cameroon.
Right.
You said that 3,000 students, for example, graduated under the social and management science, of which just about a handful graduated from this course that we actually need. Are you by chance saying that these social and management sciences in universities should be closed down? Or they are kind of like, is it fair to say that they are just a time-wasting program?
You see, we have a huge problem, and the earlier we agree that there's a problem and fix it, the better. Because we are not talking just about Cameroon, we are talking about the global village. And Cameroon and our youth are competing against the Chinese. That's whom you are competing with. You are competing against the Chinese. Even the Germans and the Americans, you know how there's the trade war, right? Yes. You see how America tries to fight China.
It's a trade war.
And then China is coming in a very, very tough way. I mean, who are you? Cameroon, that is saying you are crushed. You are a nobody. So when the giants are fighting, the grass suffers. So the issue is, ask yourself the question, why are these giants fighting? That's where the juice is. So also align yourself and begin to see how you can begin to do some things. Don't just sit there and be drinking champagne and Dom Perignon and thinking that you are doing something. It's rubbish. So the question is, what do we have to do with our youth so that we also enter the race and begin to do what is right? That is what it's all about. So if you take all your youths and then put them in classrooms and fill their heads with something that is not useful, they will not be productive. It's about being productive at the end of the day. I don't know whether I'm communicating here. Not that those social, they're important. But 20% of our children should be doing that, while 80% are in the STEM. We reverse it.
The science, engineering,
technology. Is it making some sense? Science, technology, engineering, economics, and mathematics. That's where we need to be going. That's where we need to be pushing our youths. And it is only through agriculture, industrial agriculture, and food transformation that we can create 2 million jobs for our youth in Cameroon every 2 years if we want to. Otherwise, give me another area where you can do that.
Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, you are a very good Christian. The Bible's Apostle Paul said, what I want to do, I find myself not doing.
Yes.
What I don't want to do, I find myself doing.
Yes.
What the private universities rectors will tell you that what they want to do, they find themselves not doing because, like you said, the 3 indicators, the politics has created a more dangerous pattern for them to expand.
Yes.
And for them to give, actually to give the adequate resources to develop the capacity of the children. That's why they are asking for presidential grant 50,000 to be given to these their students.
Okay. Let us correct a few things. This is the spirit of the Minister of Higher Education. This is the spirit of the government. the government realized that she alone could not solve the educational problems of the country. And in trying to solve the educational problems of the country and the youth, there was no need creating other universities that look like the state universities. There was a need to create other kinds of universities that are called professional universities. And these professional universities can only be created and run effectively by people in the private sector. Because people in the private sector have a skill that civil servants don't have. That's the thing. It is that skill. And so the government said this, or the Minister of Higher Education said this, is throw an open invitation out there. Look, we want to create private higher institutes in the nation that will help develop our youth in professional skills so that they can be injected in our economy and turn things around. They will create the wealth, they will create the jobs, and then we'll all move forward as a people. And this was an open invitation. And when you felt called to train, then you went down there, they told you what you had to put together. You made your application and brought it. They studied it. You had to put a curriculum together. And when you brought these things and then they studied it and realized that you had something good and you had what it took, that you have the money to run the institution, that you have the staff to teach, that you have the buildings, that your vision was good and that you had everything and that you are not going to ask the state anything except that authorization. You are given the authorization in two phases. Number one, you are given the authorization to create the whole thing, build. Number two, then you are given the authorization to open and run. Now, when the government did this, after about 10 years, they realized that even though children were coming from these institutions, the effect in the community on our economy was not felt. And they were still seeing a lot of children on the streets coming from these private higher institutes. So something was wrong, and they needed to correct it and correct it very fast. So that's why they went in and realized that there was something wrong with the curriculums. That's the first thing. The second thing that they needed to work on the curriculums was that every institution came with their curriculums. Okay? So let's say like we were doing in health, I would have my curriculum at St. Louis, some other. So you had 20 people training nurses with 20 different curriculums. It didn't make sense.
One field, one vision.
Correct. So the ministry decided not to have organized these seminars to harmonize or to come up with curriculums following a particular structure. And the beauty of this was this. If a child was training in my school and was in the second year and wanted to transfer to another school, they could easily transfer because you would say that you covered this in the first year here. If you go there, you would just continue. It also allowed that children could also go out of the country and it
without
helped.
starting from scratch.
No, you could still start from the scratch. But don't forget that as the children are leaving our country and going to other countries, the ministries of higher education and other universities are asking our ministers to justify this. So the minister could not justify something that somebody was doing in a little hole down there. So it needs to be harmonized so that the minister can talk with authority about a program and say, yes, this child did this and I vouch for it. Is it making some sense? So this was the reason now that the curriculums were revamped. And we, the proprietors and our engineers and technicians were the ones doing it. The people in the ministry were only coordinating and helping us because we are the technicians. So that's what was done. And then private curriculums were squashed. And then the types of degrees issued were streamlined. Is it making some sense so far? So once you have this, you follow that program. And then these generic programs are supposed to cover 70% of what you do. And the ministry gave us the latitude to add 30% of some ingredients to what we are doing so that our students can go the extra mile.
A touch of uniqueness?
Yes, a touch of uniqueness, So what is it that you want to add to this one so that your children stand out?
Like an added value.
What an added value. You get what I'm saying? Be creative. To do something to be creative. So you can now see how this thing was built up. And the purpose of the training is not such that you leave and also come and be telling stories. It's about having the knowledge and having the skills to use your hands to bake the cake. Are you getting me? So the training, when we are training the students, we have to move them from just a lot of theory, move them to being practical.
A competence-based approach.
Yes, competence-based approach. That is the key. That is the key. So you can train whoever you like in a state university or a private university. If they don't have those competencies, you are wasting your time. And even as I speak, I have an institution. I know the difficulties that I face, that we face in putting in place laboratories, in having the right and competent teachers to teach. Because sometimes, some of the problems too is you even buy the equipment and come and put it there, but the teacher who is teaching, he was taught without that equipment.
You just took that away from my mouth.
Yes. So you have the equipment sitting there, and the teacher cannot use it.
I was about to ask you a question on that you said, okay, laboratories and the rest, because we've seen teachers. The question is, where were they trained? The dynamic has changed.
Yes.
You are trained in a system to come and solve a problem in a different system. Is it not time for some of these institutions like yours to now have a development program that beef up the capacity
it's very,
of the
very
lecturers so that they can meet up with the changing times?
It's very, very, very important. And I thought about it for a very long time. You see, this is where the problem is. Let's say we are 10 of us in the house, right? We just came from the field or the garage and so on. We need to eat some fufu corn. And then our woman brings us water in a bowl. And we are all washing our hands in the bowl, in the same water in the bowl. And it goes around. Do you realize at the end of the day our hands are not clean?
Nobody washes their hands.
So, because we keep doing the same thing over and over and over. So, we said our state university, they trained people in these areas and so on, and we want to do something new, which is professional. So we look for the teachers from amongst us who trained, in that way. But you want those teachers to give something that is different, so that the children are different. But you are using teachers from the same system. So teachers from the same system is the same like washing hands in the same bowl of water. And now that's why it's important for us to import teachers of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If we don't do that, we'll not get up. We can import either from other countries or get our diaspora to come back. It's very important. We have seen it differently. But if we keep doing things as we used to do them, nothing will change.
For example, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam.
Yes.
In the journalism field, for example. The tides of journalism from 1990 to 2006 2009 has changed.
Yes.
Because now we are talking about the social media age.
Yes.
We're talking about digital communication.
Correct.
We're talking about the online platform.
Yes.
But you have lecturers who are still within the core of 1990, 1998, and somebody teaching you digital marketing who does not have a Facebook page.
That's a huge problem.
How productive should we be?
That is the problem, and we have to be very careful. When we started a few years back, I mean, St. Louis has always, you know the video projector for teaching.
Yes.
You have to use a computer for teaching, and So we started with this. And it was a huge problem trying to force the teachers to prepare their notes on computer and use that projector to teach the students. You understand?
PowerPoint.
Yes. So at the end of the day, we now made it a point to make sure that when we are employing new teachers, if you are not skilled in those areas, we make sure that you have those skills, or we teach you before you start, and we make sure. Yes. So you make it a policy. Because using technology is very tough, and I will not blame many people. You see, I have a phone here. I guess it's a very expensive phone. I bought it for quite some money, but it has a lot of functions. But I'm limited only to a few. I don't even touch the other ones. You understand? Even as we speak, I don't have a Facebook. I don't know how TikTok works. So I stay in my little corner, which is a mental kind of thing. And a lot of people are stuck like this. And we need to break that. We need to break that. Because even as you are talking about journalists, you see, I'm so surprised sometimes, and I've been talking, there are some journalists, even of your age. For starters, let me just step back a little bit. I was interviewed by a certain journalist of the Voice of America. He's Cameroonian. And what he did is, he sets up the studio, he's alone with his cameras and so on. And he sits there and interviews you, and then he captures everything. Then he goes back to his hotel and he mounts everything himself and produces the whole thing and sends it for broadcast. He doesn't need a technician, he doesn't need anybody else.
That's electronic news gathering. But we still have lecturers who still believe that you must recruit about a
crowd. CRTV is coming to interview you. You have 20 people, a driver, that one, a lighting. You fill the place with people who you don't need. I don't know whether you're making sense. And then we have some of these journalists, you would employ them. No, I am only a journalist. I'm here only to read the news. But cannot gather the news, cannot mount it. So you have to go to the point of using the computer to package the whole stuff.
So the problem now stems from training.
Yes, it's the training.
So we are not catching up with the dynamic. You raised an issue that professional institutions, how professional are these professional institutions? You have been working in this higher education for way too long now, and you know
20 years.
The nooks and crannies
20
within
years.
the system. How professional, when you look at the evolution of higher education, can you beat your chest that the government has achieved its objective? If yes, how? If no, why?
The government is doing her best, but you know, it's not possible to excel in one area if other areas are failing. What am I saying? The government and the nation has to, it's a mob. We have to move ahead, okay?
It's a collective effort.
It's a collective effort. For instance, you might say that healthcare delivery in the nation is poor, and you are right. But when you want to go and look for the reasons why, you will also see that the water and energy is poor, which contributes to health. The agriculture is poor, which contributes to
politics.
Health. Yeah, the politics is poor, which so there is no way the hospitals and everyone, the hospital system can emerge when communication has not emerged. How do you want the hospital to work when an ambulance cannot come to the hospital easily? When so it's about
there's no electricity.
There's no electricity. You see, I mean, we had a lot of problems for the last 1 week in Douala here and so on. We couldn't teach because there was no electricity, and we have some 2 generators, and the generators broke down because you know the lights will go off when somebody is not around to put. Then you have people just coming and touching everything. At the end of the day, 2 generators knocked out. So a lot of confusion. Internet does not work. Nothing. So we stress a lot in Africa. Everybody must go at once. That's why we say that the politics and everything must move at once.
Politics, the economy,
yes,
and the development.
Everything. And when we are talking about, it's about the human capacity development. This, you know, we said that the politics is about policies and making sure that the right policies are implemented. The economics is how do you create wealth, and how you create wealth by trading your goods and services. The question is, how are you producing those goods and services that you can trade? Are you getting what I'm saying? What is your financial management systems and so on? How do you earn money? And then we are talking about development, which is 2 things. We are talking about physical development of physical structures, road, water, electricity, communication, you know, whatever. Then part B is the human capacity index, human capacity development, which is the most important thing. That's why when we are talking about reconstruction, and then you are not mentioning the human person, and you just want to go and build physical structure, is a lie. So it's a lot of, and these things, what makes these things either improve or not is education. What is the type of education? And the type of education that we need is the education that is today, for us to grow, is the STEM-based kind of education. Science, technology, engineering, economics, and mathematics. Not that it's the only thing that has to be taught. It has to cover 80% of what we teach our children. 20. Yes, and then the 20, we do the social sciences and the subjects and everything. Okay. But if we don't reverse that, and when we are talking about training students, it's not talking. It must be practically based, all right? Agriculture is practically based. Agriculture is not coming and sitting in class and making noise. You do that, then you go to the field and actually produce the fish, produce the rice, produce the wheat, produce everything. Yes.
Will you disagree or agree with rectors of your colleagues, private institutions, who say that their students have been excluded from the Presidential Excellence Grant, that there is need for them to benefit because they too are students on the state university?
All right, that's a beautiful one. Thanks for reminding me. The purpose, stick to the purpose first. The purpose of the private higher institute is not presidential grant.
So you disagree with it?
No, I'm not disagreeing. We are coming. Stick to your purpose first. It's not about those grants. Now, if 80% of your students are training in those social sciences and you score 100% and you're wanting the president to give them grants, I'm not interested. Are you getting me? Because that's not where the problem is. The problem is if they could say, okay, let's put it this way. Let us give presidential grants to private higher institutes in specific areas, I would say yes. You
okay,
get what I'm
now
saying?
you are coming now from a different angle.
Yes,
That,
yes.
Let us look at specific areas. Like let us go to the STEM.
Yes, let's go to the STEM.
STEM.
Let us give the presidential grants, even in the state universities. Let's stop this thing of we would define.
Would that not make more? Would that not make some students much important than others? And
No,
others
but they are
less
already more
than-
important. They are already more important.
Would that not make Would that not make those who are reading the social management science feel like they are orphans?
No, they are not orphans.
Like their program is irrelevant?
No, what you are saying is transit over. Are you getting me? What can you do? The bottom line is this. Whatever you train in, can you employ yourself? That is the question. Whatever you train in, which problem can you solve? If no one employed you, what will you do? Those are the we are not. It's not about making people to feel good or happy. No, that's not the issue.
Okay, if I understand you, Dr. Ngwanyam,
Yes.
It's like if that money, that excellent grant is given to the STEM program, it will pull a lot of people.
Yes, yes.
From the other social
Yes,
management
pull-
science
yes.
to the
Yes.
STEM program, which will contribute to the
Yes.
growth of the
Yes.
nation.
You see these people who are doing the social sciences, nothing stops them from doing agriculture. No. Agriculture is not only for science students. Our mothers at home, and they didn't do
But
it.
that's the myth we have with state universities.
Yes.
That states that you must have a science background before you engage in agriculture.
No, that is for our state universities.
Yes, I'm saying state universities.
Yeah, no, that you can go and recognize a cell under a microscope. They might be right. Are you getting me? But how you plant a plant or make things grow, you must not have biology, you must not have chemistry. Are you getting what I'm saying? We need to rethink the way we are doing things and show children how to make things work. And when we are talking about agriculture, we're not talking about who and creditors agriculture. We are talking about children driving caterpillars, tractors and so on, and making things happen, second generation. And then after that, food transformation. That's what we are talking about. We need to rethink everything. You see, if we are saying that we can create 2 million jobs for youth, it cannot only be science students. And it's not only the science students who eat. Many of these students, we are forcing them to do what is not right. We can bring them over and put them into agriculture, and they will survive. And then look at another area of benefit. Let's take, for instance, nursing. A lot of these our children who are in the social sciences, they can study nursing. Not that they will all work in Cameroon, but if they study nursing and study it well to international standards and know how to do it, Germany needs a lot of them. Canada needs a lot of them. Britain needs a lot of them.
Is that not brain drain?
No, it's not brain drain. Let me tell you. It is the way we do things that is wrong. Let me show you. America needs a lot of them. Do you know how China has grown? China opened up her borders and sent out many of her children to the Western world to go and learn these technologies. Then they kept the doors open. So the Chinese student, when going to study, they were not running away from their country.
Okay.
It's programmed. You are going to, it's like this, you to conquer and bring. It's like the hunter. When you go and hunt, don't you bring the fruit back?
Of course.
But our children, the way we have been doing politics and our government, the way we have been doing things, the house has been uncomfortable. But what we need to do is to change the dynamics so that our children begin to come back. The question you are asking, what shall we do so that our children who have been studying all this while, even on government scholarship for the past 30 years, should be coming back and injecting what they have learned in the country? So, even as we speak now, I read 7 years ago or more that the Philippines, the Philippines?
Yes.
The Philippines was sending, at that time, I don't know what the statistics, was sending 7,000 to 9,000 nurses to the United States and Germany every year. But Cameroon was sending nothing. All right? And recently, it is said that Ghana, the nurses that Ghana is sending back, the remittances that are coming back from those children is more than the money they are earning from cocoa. Does it tell you something?
Even there was a time when the British government requested Kenya to send in 3,000 nurses.
Yes. So what are we doing about it? Our children are going over, they have studied and just wandering and then causing, they can't feed themselves, there's all problems everywhere. But we just need to strategize. This is the thing. build your homes, build the children. When I say, you understand, put something in the children. You are not going there to Germany or to America to go and be admiring their lights and admiring their streets. You are going there to learn and to work, and you bring the money back. Copy the technology and bring it back. When you go and you are working in the tire industry or whatever, learn how they make the tires. Which machines are they using? Then see how we can also buy that machine and bring it here and transform our own rubber into tires. That's how you bring up your nation. That's how you bring up the children.
Dr. Nick, don't you think that the problem is also attributed, like you earlier mentioned, the level of the lecturers, but we also have a system where the lecturers themselves and the schools themselves don't understand that they can make use of the available resources within them to give the student practical. For example, those for engineering. I watched a tutorial where the Chinese, they were teaching their students how to construct bridges within a small space like this.
Correct.
Where they just come with a bag of cement, small rods. They created a swimming pool to act like a river.
Yes.
They start with construction. And those are prototypes, then they move to stimulations.
Yes.
Is it not time for higher education and private institutions to involve in stimulations?
It is very, very important what you are saying. It's very important to do that. And the second thing is, we need to do what you call cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is very important. Cross-pollination is, you remember I was telling you about us washing water in a bowl?
Collectively.
Yes, if we continue doing things in Cameroon the way we have been doing, it's like washing water in the bowl and it keeps going on even for 100 years, nothing will change. So for it to change, we need to change the manner in which we wash our hands. And that change means bring in new knowledge, bring in new technology, bring in new people. What do I mean? It's called cross-pollination. Bring in the STEM teachers from India, from Germany, from America, from Brazil.
Canada.
Yeah, from Canada, everywhere into Cameroon. And they can be whites, they can be blacks, but more so, bring in many of your own children who left and went and studied those things. Create an enabling environment where they inject what they have studied into the system, and then we'll begin to change. That is how the change comes about. If you think that the change is going to fall from the sky, if you think that the change comes from the president signing a presidential degree, it's the biggest lie on earth.
So if we have to conclude on this first topic, you are saying that the exclusion of the private university is not something that they should much look about. They should focus on their mission.
It's focused on their mission.
The mission and the vision.
Yes, and one other thing that we were saying off camera is many of the schools, you just open so many departments.
I'm coming to that. That's the second part where we are looking at. The second part where we are looking at the promotion of quality education in Cameroon, research allowances that should be given to private universities, because maybe we just get to the second topic in itself, because we are looking at the fact that the private universities complained that the government take us to the second topic. Okay, thank you. The promotion of quality education in Cameroon. Is not time for the government to give subventions and to help private universities for research. Private universities, I was in Biaka, that was on Friday. During their convocation ceremony, the rector of the university was giving us introductory remark in the presence of the Secretary General of the Ministry of Higher Education, representing the Minister of State, the Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famendongo, and the active rector, most loved rector in Biaka. She said that the state is kind of not giving a special touch to private institutions. One of it is that the inclusion of research grants and also the ability for state subvention. Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, you have been a member of the accreditation board in private universities within the Ministry of Higher Education. What is the rule when it comes to that? Is it that the private university are eating their cake and wanting it back?
Let us look at a couple of things and stay focused. Now, the point is, when you don't stay focused on what is important, then you start running after distractions. All of those things are distractions. Okay? We want this one. All of those things are distractions. What is your mission? When you went to the minister to ask for an authorization to open that school, Did the minister, did he promise you, did the government ever promise you subventions? No. Did they promise you anything? No. The government said, we have this problem to solve. If you are in the community there and you can solve it and you know how to solve it, bring this, and put the package together and show us that you have the capacity to do it. You, the promoter, you are the one to prove to the government that you have the capacity to do it. You get what I'm saying? And then the government now gave you the authorization to do it in her name. Because the children that we train in, not in our name, we train the children in the name of the government. Is it making some sense?
That's why they mentor university.
No, not necessarily. There's another little thing that I will explain. So, you should be up to speed and have the capacity to do your research, do whatever you want. The government is interested in having those children well trained. Un point, un trait. Are you getting what I'm saying? All the other ones are distractions. Now let us talk about even the research. The question is, what research?
They said there are a lot of research that the
what
faculty
research
are supposed to carry out, that the government gives research to
no, even in the state university, what research? You know, our ministry, there was a ministry of scientific research, right?
Fimbagras.
Yeah, Fimbagras. So there was this minister, what is his name again, who used to be a secretary general of the presidency, whose son is also a professor now, making so much.
What's his name?
You know, the constitutional law expert, what is his name again?
Owona.
I think Owona was one time a minister in that. And then the researchers wanted to go on strike. Then he asked them, vous cherchez quoi? So, in Cameroon, vous cherchez quoi? Are you getting me? And when you go to look at, you remember I told you that 80% of our children are, whatever we do is in the social sciences. Most of that is in the social. It's not helping us in any way. Is it making some sense? What you want to do is in these other technical areas.
But that's why, Dr. Nick, that's why the private universities have come. That okay,
yes,
we are doing engineering, we are doing
concentrate
this,
that.
So the state should give us fundings now to carry out research that will help.
No, you don't need any research. See, copy, Xerox. When you are saying research, what you are saying is that you want to go and discover something new.
Because they say, their argument is that private universities are not business institutions.
They are business institutions, it's a lie. No, private institutions are business. Even church is business. Are you getting me? Business in quotes. But it's a social business. To say that it's not a business means that, but if you break even, fine. Stay in business. If you don't break even, shut it down. I don't know what if you are not breaking even, shut it down.
Let's take the case of Southwest region. If all students are to go to University of Boya,
yeah,
don't you think that would be kind of very difficult for?
They cannot. That
Southwest alone.
Yeah, wait a minute. That is but normal. Are you getting me? In the sense that there's demographic growth. That's what entrepreneurship is about. There's demographic growth. There is a need for this, and the government realizes it. That's why the government gives you the authorization to train people in this, and this. The question is, in which area are you training, and how useful are your products afterwards? You see, like we're talking, why do you have? And this occurred to me many years ago when I went to the Fonds National d'Emploi, National Employment Fund in Bamenda. You know where the office is in Bamenda, at Dalayaba Street. And then some of the friends who were there with me, they showed me a pile of applications of people who had done banking and financing, accounting. The pile was like this, looking for jobs. Said, please go and tell your children that they should divert from this and be studying something more useful. It was a plea. Because that's not where the job market is. Do something, differently. But we keep doing that. And then the sad part is, you see someone who is doing banking and finance, but you ask him question how you make $1, he will not tell you. Are you getting the point? Life is about how do you make that dollar. And you make the dollar by solving problems. So our problem as of now is not that research. The research that has been done is that we are not emerging if we are not changing. That is, what are we doing concretely so that we can emerge in 2035? What are we doing concretely so that our youths can create jobs for themselves? Don't go and be doing some other research that is not important. And when we are talking about research, it's nothing really very dramatic or very useful. We need to come to that point where we define those areas of research, not just filling up papers and so on. And no, that is not the problem. You put money where you have problems to solve. I think there were a couple of those problems. And now, let me answer another question even before.
We still have time.
Yes. Time. See, you were talking about the 50,000 francs that students pay, right?
Yes. The 50,000 students pay every year.
Yeah. Let me explain something so that all parents understand, the government would understand, the children would understand, and all promoters should understand. This is how it works. When you go to school, when you go to secondary school, you enter Form 1, right?
Yes.
And then you graduate in Form 5, so to speak, and then you have your O-levels. Then those O-levels, you use the O-levels to take you to what? To A-level class. And then after the A-levels, you have your A-level. Keep that in mind. The way private higher institution has been set up by the Ministry of Higher Education follows that pattern. But many promoters have decided not to follow that pattern. All right? Let me explain. It is done in such a way that let us take the health courses that are a little bit longer. When you admit children in level 1 with A levels to study, let's say nursing, all right? HND. You will study that HND for 2 years or 3 years, depending on the field of study. That HND, you are not supposed to pay 50,000 francs extra to anybody. That's from the ministry. But this is what many proprietors have done. Many proprietors, they go to the state university and try to bypass the HND course. They bypass it. They want an authorization where the state university mentors them so that the children enter in level 1, they don't write the HND or whatever, and then they get right to the third or the fourth year where they sit for the BSc.
Yes.
Now, if you do that, you will pay the 50,000 for the first year. You will pay are you getting me?
Yeah,
it's your choice. Because the ministry is there to mentor you for your HND. But you refuse the free mentorship, and I don't know whether you're getting what I'm saying.
It makes sense.
Yes, and you went for this, and then you start making noise all over the whole place.
It makes sense.
And they do that. They were doing that for economic reasons. Are you getting me? Oh, no, we are training people. So it looks like they feel ashamed saying that they don't want to be, it's like an ego kind of thing. No, for HND, no, we are doing BSc, we are doing masters, we are doing PhD. In fact, the government has been hitting hard, otherwise everybody would have been doing PhD by now. I don't know if it's making some sense. So it is just catching up with the Joneses, catching up with the Joneses. Are you now seeing where the 50,000 francs is coming from?
Yeah, you have raised something very important.
So now, this is what has been happening. We have been running with that mentality now and overloading the state universities with unnecessary work. I said unnecessary work. And this is what the minister wanted to happen. Let us take again our 4-year course. You do your 3 years for the HND. There's no 50, and everything is, and the minister takes care of everything.
And doesn't charge you.
And doesn't charge you. You only pay those fees to the institution that is training you, all right? Then now in your 4th year, those mentor things are supposed for the degree class. It's not for everything.
It is just that year.
It's for years. If it was a 3rd-year course to have that some of these courses you do for the HND for 2 years, then you add 1 year.
Yeah.
It is that 1 year only that you are supposed to pay the 50,000 francs. And with that, to access that 1 year, to be admitted into that 1 year course, you need to bring the HND.
Result from the ministry.
Yes. So if you are sitting in the 3rd year class or a 4th year class, waiting to write waiting to write the what?
The
BSc, the final exam in the BSc. If you don't have this paper which says HND, you pay
50,000.
50,000. So don't complain. I don't know. Is it making some sense? So don't make it. It's not the minister's problem. It's your own problem that you created on the field.
But now, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, you have raised an issue where many probably did not know, and you have actually brought out the clarification. Does it mean that these schools who strictly run HND programs
yes,
don't need a mentor university?
No. If you are running the HND program, you don't need a mentor university.
So if you are exclusive, your school is exclusively for
HND,
you don't need a mentor.
No, you don't need a mentor university.
But you need a center, an accommodation center.
Yes, for just when you are writing the exam.
Okay.
When you are strictly at BTS HND, you don't need a mentor university. But now it is in your growth process.
That you need a mentor
yes,
university.
A child is born and the child is creeping and so on. When the child now wants to walk into the BSc, which is that 1 year, the state university mentors you for that one. Is it making sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then you don't, when the state university is coming to control, when the Boya is coming to control us, they don't control our HND. They control the 4th year students. That's where the control is. The work is on the 4th year students, not on the level 1 to 2. They might only want to know what are you doing in level 1 to 2 so that the products in level 400 are good. They might just want to know just for the sake of knowing, but it's none of their business. Is it making some sense? It is the business of the Ministry of Higher Education to control that.
So, in essence, you are charging these rectors of wanting to make more money and blaming the state for wanting to make more money and asking the government to support them in making more money.
I don't know why they do it, but the process is simple. You know what they are doing is like you are admitting a child in Form 1 and the child doesn't write the O levels and then heads on to get the A levels and skipping the O levels. That's what they have done.
So it means that, let's say, for example, if a university charge 350 or let's say
a university institute. Be careful.
Institute. Okay.
Yes.
A university institute charge 400.
Oh, but by the way, let's go back to the nomenclature again. You are a higher institute when you are giving,
You want to run a specific.
No. When you are giving HNDs, you are still a higher institute when you are giving first degrees or even masters. You are still a higher institute. You only get the appellation university added to institute when you have
different
2 or 3 areas of activity brought under one roof. Is that very clear?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Which means that, again, if you are doing only in one field and you are giving HND, BSc, and masters, you are still a higher institute. Let us get it very clear.
Okay.
All right.
For example, let's say you are doing the medical laboratory sciences,
the medical stuff, yes,
which involve midwifery.
Yeah, all those ones. Yeah.
Now, in the next coming academic year, you decide now to add business accounting.
Yes, and there's a way to decide. It's not that you just open your doors.
You apply.
No, you apply and get the authorization before you. Are you getting what I'm saying?
You apply for expansion.
Yes. So you have the authorization which you already got for medicine. You have this authorization for business and so on. You have another authorization for something. Then you put them under one roof. Now you become a university.
If it is that's for HND.
Yes, you can still be doing HND. You can still be doing HND, but as long as you have these 3, you are a university institute. That's what defines you.
Okay, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam. Now, let's say a higher institute receive 400,000 francs as HND fee for a student.
Yeah.
Now, which means that, if I get you correctly, that 400,000 francs, nothing goes to the state university as mentor.
That is,
per student.
If you do things in the spirit of the Ministry of Higher Education, nothing.
Nothing goes to.
Nothing.
So you can break even.
Yes. You understand? Nothing. But it is, you put the child there and you are waiving the first degree oh, we'll give you the first degree through this mentor university. And the child is seeing the first degree and then skips the HND. So you pay for that because you're over-laboring the universities to conduct your exams and do things for your first year, do things for your second year, do things for your third year,
so
or
it's
whatever.
fair to say that you are charging these rectors of greed.
No, it's not greed. It's just that it's their business strategy.
and wanting the state to contribute to that.
Yes, no.
To give them subvention.
No, the ministry is there to do it for free. are you getting me?
It's clear now. It's clear now.
Yeah, the ministry is there to do it for free. So why are you asking the ministry to pay for something that is free? Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes. So
it's clear, doctor.
Yes. So let us be very clear about it. If the children have paid, oh, by the way, another question arises, why should we be paying the state university? Those teachers that are employed in the state universities, they were employed to do the work for the state university. Un point, entre. You brought extra work from outside. They have to be given something for doing that extra work.
That's why the 50,000.
Yes, you must pay. There is nothing like something for free. You cannot be doing your business over here and expect them to be working for you for free.
Dr. Nick,
yes?
You agree with us that these schools, private institutions, are not financial institutions?
No, they are not financial institutions.
They are providing services. They are helping the state to meet
yes,
services.
Yes.
So why is it not just normal that the state should waive these 50,000 francs? And by the way, when should mentorship end?
No, wait. The state should waive which 50,000? Which of the 50,000? Follow what I prescribed.
Yes.
Okay, let's put it. Let's go back to what it's supposed to be. All right, let's take an HND in accounting. Or BSc in accounting, right? You admit a child in level 1 for BS but the child, everybody knows that the child will end up with a BSc. Yes. But you don't. That is where the child is going to. But you break up the whole system into the O-level, A-level concept. I'm trying to use that concept. Yes. So the child must show proof that he has passed the O-level and brings you the O-level certificate before he is admitted into the A-level. Are you getting me? But if you choose not to write the O-levels, then you will pay the 50,000 francs. Even then, that's not what the ministry wanted. The ministry, you are supposed to have that associate degree first, which is the HND. So
normally all universities were supposed to start with HND?
Yeah, everybody is supposed
to.
Yes, you have to have it before you transition.
Which means that if you start your academic year, university this 2022-2023 academic year, it means that it should be in 2025-2026 where you are recruiting students for your first degree, believing that these ones must have had their HND before moving now to their first degree to continue the cycle.
Yeah, I don't really understand the sense of your question, but the bottom line is that the children are in the mill. You understand? Every year you recruit in the first year. Yeah, so everybody keeps moving.
Yeah, no. This is my question. Okay, you say if a school opens its door, let's say Javis Institute of Higher Education.
If you open it today,
academic year,
correct,
2022,
yes,
2023.
Yes.
Now it means that it will take me 2 years to recruit the first set of BSc.
Correct. It is after the 2 years.
Yes, under the belief that this kid who started the
It is not even 2 years. It's not even just 2 years. No. It doesn't even work like that. You have to generate a lot of the HND and show your capacity
to handle
the HND properly.
Well,
then in about the 5th, 6th year, then you now begin to go to a mentor university. And then you show proof of your work. I've been doing this thing, and the children are doing well, and so on. I think I have the muscle now to do the BSc. It's not because no, it doesn't work like that, and that's why we are having all this cacophony. Are you getting
because
me?
Because people attempt to bypass.
Yeah, you're just doing everybody running a race. It's not a race.
No, Dr. Nick. Let's look at now research. You have talked about the issue of subvention. It's quite clear why the state shouldn't give them subvention, because they have to give a bank statement during the accreditation.
Yes.
You have to show the source of funding.
You have to show that you can do it. All right? Because the bottom line is the state does not have the money. The state does not have the money. Even state universities are having difficulties running. So if we sit there and say the state must give us the money before and make it a point, then we'll never go. Are you getting me? If one day things are okay for the state to help us, fine. But the state never promised you money.
Okay.
And if you go now asking that the state must give you money, the state will say, okay, shut it down.
Okay, Dr. Nick, let's come now to the aspect of research. these private institutions who are running STEM,
Yeah.
is it not just normal now that, okay, the government should give them research allowances? Because a lot of them could maybe want to come up with great innovation, look like a period of COVID-19.
Yes.
Even the sanitizers we bought, we imported.
We imported. That's. You know that COVID-19 came and showed us a lot of weaknesses in the system, because we have a lot of schools of pharmacy who could produce the sanitizer, and then that COVID-19 thing was poorly managed in the sense that we did not, as a nation, look at what we could produce and then see what we could import. You know, the way the system has been working is people in position of strength, they make their money, they give it to somebody. It's just by importation. It's that importation route. People are looking more at what they would gain than really looking at what common good will gain. You understand? Because the sanitizers, we could have. The masks, the face masks,
yes, even the face
masks, we could have made those. And you know, I was very, very disturbed and unhappy when the Minister of Secondary Education went to, you know, the technical college. At Ngwanyam.
Yes.
They wear orange uniform.
Yes.
He went to visit them, and it was during that COVID period. And then she was being shown some of the products, the face masks that the students had made. And it was like, who gave you the authorization to be making face masks? I was very disturbed. I said, just for heaven's sake, these are children in technical schools, they're doing tailoring, they're doing things.
That's all we need.
That's all we need. Making a mask is the easiest of things. The woman would have been asking is, she would have said, congratulations, Mr. Principal, congratulations, my dear children. I'm so happy that you made this face mask. But what did you take into consideration when making this thing?
That's the protocol
Yes,
now.
yes. So does it meet this, you know, can it hold back the viruses? Can it, you know, what is it in it? Did you double the cloth, or did we need to put something in between or something? That is what you should be working on. Not saying that the children are not supposed. If they don't make that, what will they make?
So import now.
Are you getting what I'm saying? So, and that's why the Minister of Research,
Fimbagras,
said that we can make quinine. Then when I bought the damn thing from over there and came and was repackaging, that is nonsense. You see where our weaknesses are?
Dr. Nick, which means that there's need for government to assist these universities for research.
No, it's not just research. First, let's get the mindset straightened. When you get the mindset straightened and redefine a lot of things, then when you are helping, then you know whom you are helping and why you are helping. Okay, help universities, there's nothing wrong with that. But help them in STEM.
Yes, that's what we are saying.
Are you getting me? And the help is not research. The help is bring in those teachers who can teach them. Are you getting me? Bring in that Indian who can teach the children how to make a tractor in Cameroon. Because what do you want to research about when you bring, I don't know, so we have limited resources, right?
Yes.
We have limited resources. We want to help those private higher institutes. If you give them money for research, you get the point. Just copy.
When you say, Dr. Nick, that what are they researching?
Wait now, my man, wait. This is, you see, you have a limited budget and you have 10 things that are important. But when you put those 10 things, which is the most important and which is the least important? Our greatest thing is not the research. Our greatest thing is, how do you do this thing? How do you couple that phone? How do you? So what you need to do is bring back the teachers from China, from Germany, from Holland, from South Korea, from India, from America, from Brazil, to bring them and create a particular school and put them in. Bring all these our young people with first degrees and masters in physics and chemistry. Bring them there. Are you getting what I'm saying? Teach them how to translate their theoretical knowledge into practical things, and then feed them into our school system, so that children are more practically based. When you are talking about an agriculture, the children should be able to grow that wheat, should be able to grow the barley, should be able to grow the fish, chicken, and so on, and can it. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes. It's not the blah 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 blah. If you want to make research, do research on how to transform the food and actually transform the food. It's not about talking some thrash.
Let's revamp the curriculum. This is coming from Daddy So and says, Doctor, we shouldn't wait for a problem like COVID-19 before carrying on production. That is true, sir. All is just neck for money, and finally the student become unproductive. The journalists focus on the weakness of the government, while doctors focus on the system, which is the virus. This other says that's true, and it's coming from Anita Eno. Anita says that's true. This other read says happy Sunday to you guys, nice program. I think that the government should really help these private institutions. This other right says Dr. Nick is talking a lot of sense. Anita Eno right, thanks. How I did journalism, all mechanics on me, like I am going to the moon. You alone does all by yourself. Thank you, Anita Eno. Critical thinking, evidence-based practice is what we need. Thank you very much. Let's take learning out of classroom to the field. Cameroon educational curriculum need complete transformation. Doctor, do you agree with that?
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that at least what we are saying, some people are understanding. Even as we are saying that some people will be insulting us, that's okay. You can insult. But we are showing you how to move from point A to point B. And I'm telling you that from 2023, Cameroon is going to change. And these things will be put in place, and you will see it working. The school system will be changed, everything will be changed, and we have to move away from the way we do things now and change. Because this is the point. If we don't change what we are doing in Cameroon, see, whether you like it or you don't like it, it has nothing to do with your politics, with your pressing. The Chinese, hey, I'm saying that the Chinese will come and enslave us in Cameroon. And the only way you can stop it is to build capacity in your own children to keep the door shut.
The sad thing is we're out of time.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about. But I just want you to try this. We have, how do we regulate now this private institution? There's a proliferation of institutions.
Yeah, there's
Doctor,
a proliferation.
If you move down to Moliko, you will have every quarter has a university. Every quarter has a university.
First and foremost, they are not universities; they are higher institutes.
But you hear the
university, yes.
So we have clarified the issue that of higher institute and higher university institute.
Yes, we have gone overboard already. First and foremost, you know, in economics, there's demand and supply, not so. And you needed a critical. You need a certain number of university institutes or higher institutes to actually do the job efficiently. But when the number goes up to 220 and they are all doing the same things, because, like I said, go and check, most of them, we are 420, but 80% of them, all of them are doing the marketing and banking and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, they don't have, this is where the problem lies. Each of those universities does not have enough students to fill their classes and make it sustainable. There's a problem of sustainability here. Is it making some sense? Yes, you know, I've tried to open some departments in the school. When I open it, you end up with 5 students, and you realize that you have to bring money from some other departments to run it, and it becomes very, very tricky. So how do we make them sustainable? It's about strategy and management. Every institution should be able to put in place strategies. But if you have an authorization with 100 departments from the ministry, and you come and open all the 100, they will not work. It's not because you tell parents that I do this, I do aeronautics, I do this, I do shipbuilding. It doesn't matter what you tell the people. If you are not doing it concretely, it will not work. Okay. So it's about putting in your entrepreneurial skills. But like you said, the government has to come in again and look at what everybody is doing and make sure that you are carrying the weight that you can carry. And then shut down some of these too many social these things and so on. We cannot be having 20 million children doing banking and finance when they don't know how to make money. We have to look at that. And usually when you work, it is nature that pays you. Nature does not pay you for a certificate. Nature pays you for a problem solved. All right? So it's about training children who can solve problems. And if you can do that, Cameroon will be well to do. It's very important.
Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, in one word, how will you describe the evolution of higher education in Cameroon?
It's suffering from a lot of hiccups because you need the participation of the private sector, you need the participation of government, of the civil sector, and working together. and there's still this misunderstanding, and the thing is hiccuping and keeping around. That's why I'm so I've been so so hard on saying this is the way we need to go, and people are just looking, what advantages can I get from here? When you keep your eye on the advantages and then you forget, we are running after the wash baby, and we are throwing away the baby. I mean, how do you put it again? We are running after the
water of the baby, and
then we throw the baby. Yes. Keep your mind on the right thing, and do it well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, for coming. We regret the fact that we didn't have the other members, but it was quite an enriching, and there's not much time. We had a lot to discuss. Hopefully, we will continue the program subsequently when we'll have time. When you take time, your busy schedule off, we'll have to reschedule the program to look at some other aspect of curriculum. How do we revamp the curriculum to meet up with the changing time, looking at STEM and the way forward. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming, and all those of you watchers, we want to thank you. This program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. Our rebroadcast is on Sunday today at 10:30 p.m. In case you want to be a member of the panel, you can contact me on the numbers on your screen. I will include you to the WhatsApp group and will let you know the topic we shall be discussing on. Until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. What matters for you is that you should look for competence-based approach and focus on STEM education, which is the future. My name is Tah Mai Javis from Cameroon's Economic Capital, Douala, Fengudrong, Bange. Bye-bye.